I'd like to call this meeting to order at 3:35. And Councilor Janice, can you give the blessing?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us all safely here today. We pray that you will be with us as we conduct our meetings. We ask that you will remind us of the responsibilities that we have to those that we serve. Be with us throughout these meetings and take us all safely home this evening. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Should I do roll call?
Yes, sir. David
Honey.
Walkenstick. Tom Garvin.
Honey.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Tyler Desert.
KG.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Julia Coates. Here. Jody Fishinghawk. Janelle Fulbright. Present. Frankie Hargis. Present. Tana Glory Jordan. Lee Keener.
Honey.
Dick Lay. Curtis Snell. Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton. Victoria Vasquez. Karen Callan Watts. We do have a quorum.
Thanks, Shelley. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from February 26, 2015?
So moved.
So moved. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Down to reports from Talking Leaves Job Corps Career Service. We got Miss Diane Kelly. That's a pretty shirt you got on, Miss Kelly.
Well, thank you, thank you.
And I have a pretty shirt on too.
How you do? You sure
Yes.
do.
Thank you so much.
We'll order some more one of these days. Maybe this color, you never know.
I'll
I
wear
just
it.
want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so don't forget to wear green, or you might get pinched. I just want to say that this is probably not the appropriate committee, but I wanted to share with you guys what's going on. Our beloved John Obracker has resigned as Tarot Director.
Shoot.
And he is taking a job with the Muskogee Creek Nation as their Tarot Director. It's my understanding he will be the third Tarot Director over there since they started Tarot back about 2 or 3 years ago.
Running for chief over there.
And he starts with them next Monday. His last day is this Friday. He resigned last Friday, and this Friday's his last day.
You guys having a going away party, shindig?
Oh, sure we are. You know we are.
All right. I know what time it
Anyway,
is.
I told him, I said, you'll be back. They always come back home. So we know he'll be back someday. Willard Mounts is going to serve as acting starting Monday. He will be working with us on a lot of the reports. Willard does a lot of the administrative functions for John, and he's familiar with a lot of the reports that we do up there. This leads me into today. We met with the BIA Forestry Division regarding standard operating procedures. This was our third meeting that we've had with the BIA since David and the fire program came over to our shop back in July. And Joe Morris is a 15-year veteran with the Ute Mount Agency out of the BIA, and he was assigned to come down here and work with the BIA in our department for about 31 days in helping to develop the standard operating procedures. So this morning we met with the BIA Forestry Service, and our staff met. We went over the draft. We'll continue discussion on it here in another couple of weeks. We have got to go back and have some meetings with Realty, the AG's office, and the Secretary of State, and kind of map out what we're going to do. The procedures deal with allotted land, trust land, and fee land on how they are actually going to fight fires in those areas. They told us that there is money for training on prescribed burns and fuel education, and we're going to be working with them and probably putting some day workers over there to go in and do some clearing of the underbrush in some of the areas, especially like up in Delaware County, Councilman Buzzard and Councilman Snell. And they commended us and said we were in an ideal situation with our program, and this is the third meeting since they come under Career Services. And I want to commend John, Willard, and David for the work that they've done, along with Brent Boring, who is the Forest Service manager out of the BIA. This is a lot of work. I think when we finish these procedures, we'll have a good blueprint to follow. So it's badly needed and it's moving.
Yeah, let her finish, Councilman Buzzard. I get back to you.
Before we have the floor?
Let her finish your report real quick, and then we'll come back to you.
And today I have Christopher Thompson with me, who is where you at, Christopher? Christopher Thompson oversees our Cherokee Career Connections website. And we came to you back in, I think it was September, or October, and told you that we had developed a website in conjunction with our HR department, Nason Morton, and Vivian Phillips and Bob Thomas at CNB. And Christopher oversees the website, which is our job banking on referrals that come in. And we have some promotional material that he wants to give you. So if you and LaWanda could, it's over here. It's a t-shirt. It's a cotton t-shirt. It's not a real nice t-shirt or shirt like you have.
Oh, really?
But we will have some of those later on. But this was our website, and we
Did
told
you say
all.
it wasn't a nice t-shirt?
It is a nice t-shirt.
Okay.
It's maroon, like Sequoia's colors.
Okay.
And these are just promotional materials so that whenever you're out and about, because I know most of you all are out in these community meetings, remind people that we do have a website that they can put their job bank information on, because we get a lot of referrals of people who are actually employed or people who are not employed that are trying to obtain a job with Cherokee Nation or CNE. Have on a Cherokee Nation shirt today. I told him, I said, you need to go home and change clothes. Jones, who is our NAVTEP business technology teacher, and Councilman Walkenstick, you asked for the notepads several months ago.
Yes,
Well,
I did.
the students have those notepads, and they're here today.
Awesome.
I have
That's
two
great.
students with me. I've got, once you girls stand, I've got Sunita Maps and Lonnie Wildcat.
Yeah.
They're two of the business technology students with Miss Laura Jones, and they have the
Just
notepads
leave
for
it
you.
down there. We don't
So
care.
they're going to give those out.
Good.
Thank you, thank you. And I hope you enjoy them. And the students did these as part of their classwork.
Didn't get a t-shirt, but his.
Gloria asked me, she said, what are you going to give out today? I said, I don't know, you'll have to wait and see.
Boxers in there?
Talking Leaves Job Corps, Ramona Holt is our academic manager, and she was tapped by the accreditation committee to come over and be one of the team members for the Sequoia High School accreditation team. We're real proud of Ramona, and she sent over some notepads, and these are environmentally friendly. They are made out of rocks, and I'm serious, they're made out of rocks. And they have such a really neat feel to them, and they're easy to write on. And they're Ego Fax stone paper. And it's got our telephone number on the front of it. And Jay Littlejohn said to remind you to look at that phone number, and when you're out and about, if you run into someone who is 16 to 24 years of age,
Nice.
recruit
Thank you.
them to come to Job Corps and get their training, get their high school diploma, or get
Sure
their
your house in the
GED.
background.
But our phone number's on the front of it, and I've got 19 of these. And Rwanda, would you give these to Shelley
Sweet.
to give out?
Thank you, Diane.
That's all the goodies I have for you.
Hey, yeah.
We have 8 students in our JD-NEG Union Welding Program. You've probably seen the trailer up at Taro. Well, that's the trailer that they do their lab work in, and they're using our Taro classroom for the classroom. And they've got 6 weeks of training, and then they will actually be an apprentice with the union when they finish. We're taking applications for our culinary training program in Salisaw. Dixie Weathers is the contact person for that. If you know anybody that wants in that training program, it'll be in the evening and also in the daytime, and it'll be at Salisaw Middle School. And Chief Baker visited with me yesterday. We have been trying for several months, and I know Councilman Vasquez has asked me about this, and we have been working very hard to try to get out of our lease that we're in Oklahoma City. The chief has found us a place that will work with us on our lease agreement because of the sovereignty issue in the lease. That is one of the things that we're having a difficult time finding someone that will lease to us in Oklahoma City. And so he thinks that this place that he's found may work.
Thanks, Shelley.
So Jay and Donna and them are going to be checking it out. It's over close to the Capitol. It's on Lincoln Boulevard, not too far from the Indian Museum. So it's in a good location. So you can pass that along. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And we've got lots going on. And Brenda Fitzgerald, Kim Carroll, and Daryl leg went to Henrietta this morning early, bright and early, to meet with the Creek Nation on their reentry program. There's 2 grants out there that we're looking at obtaining, and one is the adult piece through the Department of Justice, and the other is a youth one. And we'll be coming before you at the end of this month with a resolution on one of those. Brenda is also here to answer any questions about the resolution that's on the agenda today for the Voc Rehab. So Brenda, are you in here? Okay. So if there's any questions about that, well, she's here to answer those. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Diane. Councilman Buzzard?
Yes, Diane, on the forestry plan, are you gonna be talking about anything more than, because what I wanna do is get a plan to thin those pine trees out. So we've been trying to get that for
The
years.
pine trees were talked about in the meeting this morning, and that was one of the things, because they need to do the burn training with them,
Right.
so they don't burn the trees down.
Yeah, yeah.
So they would want to come in and do some training with them before they actually went out there and did any of this clearing. But we've got to sit down with natural resources and everybody involved before we actually put something together. So we're gonna get back with the VIA probably in about 3 weeks.
Certainly would like to see the thinning of the pine go on, and how we're going to done. And I have another question on the welding program, and you may have said, how long is the training for?
It is, I think, 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks.
And I say that because we did have to shut it down a few days because of the weather. So I'll say 6 to 8
Is that an income-based school that you go to?
No. Yeah, they had to meet the income criteria eligibility criteria for the JD-NEG, which was long-term
Right,
unemployment.
okay. Thank you, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, thank you. Councilman Garvin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dan, do you have a list of those taking welding in the welding school?
Yes, I can get you a list.
Okay, I'd like to see it. So,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Diane, it's a good report. What, Speaker Jordan?
Will you send the information over to Gail where these came from?
Yes, I'll be glad to.
That's, I've been looking for something for you all, and you might like the feel of this. Well, that's the only thing, but the paper feels so much better than regular paper. If you'd send that information over, I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions?
That's it, Diane. Good report.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, next we got Executive Director's Report, Dr. Sly, Bruce Davis.
Let's go ahead and introduce the kids here. They're sitting here. They've been sitting here. If she doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Sly, before we start your report, I know a lot of these young kids are on spring break right now, and they're here at our tribal council meeting. Can we have them stand up and introduce themselves real quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, tribal council members,
And
please.
Lisa Trice, you're over this group, right? All this tribal
Lisa
youth council.
Trice, Turtle is their coordinator. She has been rebuilding this program for the past year, and these are the participants that we've had to work with.
Hey guys,
Wonderful.
I appreciate you sacrificing your spring break to be here with us. You guys could be in Cancun or Florida or Mexico. You guys are in Cherokee County at the council meeting. We appreciate you.
And they'll be at full council tonight, too.
Okay.
Let's start.
Would you have them introduce what district they're from?
Hey, and introduce what district you're from as well when you guys do your name.
If you can.
Let's start right here.
I'm Taylor Armbruster. I'm from District 9 and I attend Sequoia High School.
Okay.
I'm Jacob Chavez. I'm from District 2 and I attend Sequoia also.
Okay.
I'm Blake Henson from District 4 and I attend Fort Gibson High School.
Okay.
I'm Haley Gavanis from District 2 and I attend Sequoia High School.
I'm Ashton Shelley from District 3 and I go to Keys High School.
Okay.
Abigail Shepherd, District 12, I go to King Valley High School.
I'm Ashley Fox. I'm also from District 12 and I go to Bartlesville High School.
I'm Haley Teehee, I'm from District 2 and I go to School. I'm Serenity Gates, I'm from District 6 and I go to School High School.
OCL, my name is Morgan Mouse and I represent District 2 and I'm also from Sequoia High School.
Seattle, I'm Sierra Fields. I'm from District 3 and I go to Fort Gibson.
I'm Elizabeth Hummingbird. I'm from District 7 and I go to Sequoia High School.
I'm Sarah Pilcher, I'm District 7, I attend Sequoia High School.
All right. Good group. Good job, guys. I appreciate you guys serving and being in the leadership and taking an interest in the Cherokee Nation. So we thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's go to reports. Dr. Sly.
Thank you. I just want to, you have my report, so I'm not going to go over it, but I do remind you of a couple of dates. The valedictorian, salutatorian scholarships, deadline, April the 10th. That's,
April
you know,
10th.
before we get to meet again, so I need for you to remember that. That and our promised scholarships. So
Valedictorian.
please, we'll be contacting the schools with the information and counselors, and be looking at
Cherokee
that.
Promise.
Dr. Sly, would
yes,
you
sir.
please do that in form of email to Gail so she can distribute?
Emails, yes, sir.
Thank you.
And then, you know, we're getting the RTR. We have most of the participants who are interviewed and who have been accepted in the program, but we have not completed all the paperwork on each of the participants, so we're going to be doing that. We have a wonderful group of 12 students, well, 16 to 24-year-olds, but we're looking forward to this year with them. And last education committee meeting, Councilman Buzzard asked about J contacts. And between the Johnson O'Malley program and my program, we have had a minimum of 24 contacts with the superintendent. So that's since August. So we're in contact monthly. And so, and then we have the Trail of Tears Awards, of Excellence. That is due April 1. Just a reminder, Trail of Tears. Applications are all online. If individuals don't get a paper copy, you can go online and find them.
March 27th.
Okay, any other, I'm ready for questions now.
Speaker Jordan.
Yes, Bruce, the application for the concurrent enrollment that we talked about last month, you have received that now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, were you able to take care of that?
Take care of that.
Okay, so it's already taken care of, or are you going
I
to?
think it's already taken care of.
You'll double check?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilman Buzzard.
Yes, Gloria, you said you had 24 contacts with the superintendent. Is that over the past month or the past physical year?
Just since August.
Since August?
Yeah, a lot of the contacts go through the counselors,
Okay.
like with JOM, and then they go through the education committees of the different programs. But the counselors, even for higher ed, the counselors are the main contacts for those schools, as opposed to the superintendent. Now,
The reason I asked that question, and I'm glad you told me who you contacted, because I don't see any activity coming out of J schools. None whatsoever. And I'm wondering, I don't think it's getting passed down to the people that need to know in the school system. Our JOM program is not, it's community-based,
right.
so that's where we're losing out up there. But I have not seen anything come out of J. Even on your contact, J school is not even listed on it.
They are.
As an outreach, on the outreach program, it's not listed on there.
Oh, on the outreach.
Yeah, and I've looked back for 4 or 5 of these manuals that I've got, and it's never been on there.
On like for us with the superintendent's program.
I don't know, it's just outreach.
Right, outreach is the higher ed program.
Okay.
And I don't work directly with them, so I'm not sure. But the higher ed, again, is mostly the counselors.
Okay. The counselors.
Yeah, the high school counselors, the junior high counselors, that's who they deal with in presenting their programs.
And, the 24 contact with the superintendent does not have a thing come out of the school, something's not right, so I will see that the school board is aware of that.
Well, and we're promoting our June Teachers Institute, the Professional Development Institute, and we are personally going to each of the schools. I have a staff member who's going and promoting that, and so we will make a personal contact also.
Do they give you time, like when you go to J, do you get a time set aside to address whatever you're going to talk about? With the teachers, or the students, or?
We make appointments, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And with the superintendents, We have two methods of contacting them. We have a group of like 10 superintendents in a specific area. We email them, and we have monthly meetings with them. And so we, give out our information then. We send it out by email. We make personal visits to the schools. But those personal visits, we can carry some of the information and give it to the secretary so it'll get past the superintendent's email.
Is there any way, and I would like to know what you're sending out to those schools, could you email that to me, or is it such a big?
CC you on the?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
On the memo or whatever you're doing, so I can follow up on it?
It's just, reminders of meetings and reminders of competitions,
Okay.
like our language bowl and,
Sure.
And
that's another thing, we never have a challenges with the language goals, so something's not working there. But if
Okay.
you would email me that stuff, then I can follow up on it.
Surely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Dr. Coates?
Thank you. I just wanted, I think, if I'm reading this right, we had a loss, we lost 6 Promise Scholars between the fall semester and the spring semester.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Can you have general ideas of why that happened, or what kind of?
I don't. Ms. Davis, do you work directly with Jennifer?
Jennifer's out on sick leave, but I'll find out and get back with you.
Because I just know that's been a really, really successful program, especially in retaining students, so a loss of 10% of them is pretty, that's of concern, I think. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Coates. Any other questions? Mr. Keener?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the immersion school, what grade did they get from the state, or did they get a grade?
They got a grade? I think that this year they probably got an F.
And what's the plan for helping them that grade?
Well, Councilman Keener, I don't know that you would expect an immersion school to get anything but that. They're taught in Cherokee until the 5th grade. And if they take tests in the 3rd and 5th grade, and they have to read and write and comprehend in English, it's a little bit difficult because we don't do that. And so I think that there is being a plan developed, but according to the legislation, Oklahoma's and Oklahoma State legislation and the tribe's charter, that school is to be an immersion school. So even though the children can comprehend in English, that doesn't mean, and they have their skills and everything in English and being able, that doesn't mean they're reading, write, and comprehend in English writing, and being able to take tests.
So there's a plan being developed, though, and that will be for next fall?
That will be for next fall.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can't address it this soon, but.
As soon as you get that, can you forward it to Gail so we can get it as well? And then on the immersion teachers, we're no longer in that business of helping the teachers.
We're helping the teachers. Yes, we are. And just remember that our teachers are certified through the State Department. But we have professional development. And also, Dr. Morton has enlisted the language translators and other speakers to go up and help to work with them in their classroom techniques.
But is there any current students at NSU that will be looked at for the immersion?
There are 5 there.
5. There'll be 5 every semester now. And did I remember right, there's 2 or 3 that are already student teaching there from that program, or is that, I can't remember if that's right or wrong.
Okay, we have the last count. Now, the reason I'm hesitant to answer you, Mr. Qualls is a superintendent, and Mr. Qualls knows more details than I do about day-to-day operation. So, but what I do know is that last count I had, we had 3, maybe 4 students who had been educated at Northeastern in the language, and they were certified through the State Department working with the immersion school. We have 5 who are students right now who work at the school 15 hours a week, and they also work with our language staff. So there's a method already right now to strengthen their language and to strengthen their classroom skills as far as classroom management, lesson plan, all of that.
So the 5 are not associated with NSU?
They are students at NSU in the College of Ed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Speaker Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What percentage, Dr. Sly, is the money that's given by the state to the immersion school? What is the percentage in the overall cost of the immersion program, which is then financed solely from Gen Fund dollars, I believe, through the tribe?
I'm not sure because I haven't been involved with them that intimately.
Well, at the time that we got the charter school status, the immersion program, I think, received that initial year, was it 1.5 or something?
1.5, yes.
And now aren't we down around the 200,000 mark as they slowly choke us off into the, but they're still demanding that we pass the same criteria as any public school in Oklahoma. Is that correct?
That's right.
And more.
Well, I think there's going to come a time, folks, and we're probably getting there pretty quick, where we need to decide, are we going to continue as an immersion school program, which I wholeheartedly hope that each and every one of us will agree that's what we want to do, because you got to start your speakers young. You can't wait till they're adults and still think they're going to speak the same dialect as one that it came from the home and it came at a very early age, and whether we're going to let the state continue to dictate 100% of the rules for the amount of money that they provide you for the school. It's a very small amount in comparison to the actual cost of the school. So you've got to consider, sometimes this money comes with so many strings that it's no longer money that you need to think about taking into your program. Because here we sit, and I'm in a community that also has some F schools, and I just deplore this grading program that's been instituted by the state, basically to hurt our small school systems. It don't hit your large schools near as much as it hits your dependent schools. And they're slowly choking the money off, but still demanding the same return. And I think this is something that this body's going to have to think about come budget time, whether you even want to continue down this path, because I think it brings your students and your families and your grandparents and your community, I think it brings them down to see these situations when we're not teaching to that criteria.
Right.
We've got a whole different reason that we set up the immersion program. A whole different reason that we set it up. And that reason is inconsistent with what the state is trying to do in the form of giving you this $200,000 and then saying we're going to grade you the same way we grade them in Oklahoma City or Tulsa.
Exactly.
And I know you all have a hard job. You have an extremely hard job. And your job is even made harder by the fact that we're taking that money and we're being held to a standard that we're not teaching to.
Exactly.
Because that's not the task that we gave the immersion school program.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a response, please?
Yes, please.
You also need to remember that the funding that we originally asked for from the State Department was only for the teaching staff. We did not ask them to fund the direct development of the materials, classroom materials. We did not ask them for transportation costs because we don't provide transportation, except for field trips and things, but we don't provide transportation for the students to come to the school. And so many other kind of additional services. We don't charge this, we didn't ask for that monies from the state. We only asked for the teaching staff. So.
Okay. Speaker Jordan.
Would you agree, Dr. Sly, it's somewhat one-sided what the state expects us versus the amount of money that they give us?
Yes, ma'am. I would prefer that you changed all your agreement, and your compacts, and say, in lieu of the taxes that you pay, that you would put it toward education as you did with your gas tax, but you want to fund your immersion schools and have 2 or 3 of them around. So, yeah,
I think
redirect
everybody
it.
here loves the immersion
Right.
program. I
Mhm.
think there's not
Right.
anyone on this body would say, we will do whatever we can to keep this immersion program going in the future. And that may come during budget time, that we've got to consider whether we want to continue taking that little dab of state money with the mandates that they're placing on it.
Yeah. And the other thing is you got to look at the state is supplementing their budget with our dollars from the casinos and things. And so for every dollar that the Cherokee Nation and the other 5 tribes put in, they're taking it out of their budget and spending it somewhere else instead of on education. So instead of enhancing education, we're just, the schools are getting the same amount of dollars, and this year getting cut because of the $600 million shortfall that the State Department has.
That's $300 million.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Coates.
Thank you. I guess I just wanted to clarify something, because we've been having a long discussion about immersion, and the directors of education have been responding to that, but it's been my understanding that because Mr. Davis's wife is the principal of the immersion school, and that is in a conflict of interest there, that immersion had actually been moved out and
Dr.
under
Coates.
Dr. Morton or something
Dr.
like
Coates.
that.
No.
Wait,
So I guess I'd want
Dr.
to.
Coates.
What I'm asking for is just a clarification.
Dr. Dr. Coates, if I may, there was a chart that was given to us at our last meeting that had it was a flow
so I
chart.
guess that's why I'm asking the question.
Well, you
about
wasn't
if I
here.
could see
Okay.
a flow. That was the gist of my question.
Okay. Yeah. No, we
I wasn't
received that
really
last
allowed to
meeting.
even
Okay.
complete, but-
All right. I just wanted to correct you there. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can respond.
Yes,
She
that's
has
fine.
never been under Mr. Davis's direct supervision. As I said, the immersion school is under Sequoia, and it always has been since day of implementation. And so the principal there, like the principal of high school, has to go through other management channels. It eventually comes up, but there's no direct supervision and no direct.
Okay, so I understand that, but then that begs the question to me is why then is it not Mr. Qualls or Mr. Morton or somebody who's responding to questions about immersion? Why is it?
That's why I said
Yeah.
That's why I said to Councilman Glory, this is more under Mr. Qualls. I was hesitant to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
was hesitant to answer, but it is more under there.
Yeah, Mr. Qualls will be up next after you guys. But we're running short on time. Councilman Lay?
And I'll make this quick.
Okay.
And I think I just heard the answer, but the immersion school comes under Sequoia, so it also gets that double tag funding. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct. Uh-huh. Okay. Any other questions? All right, good report.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next, Vernon Thompson from Head Start. Yes, Dr. Slide, you were filling for her?
She has a business conference call this afternoon, and so I will report for her and take any questions that you might have for her.
Any questions for Head Start?
Ask them
All
all.
right, seeing none. All right, tell Vernon a good report. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Sequoia High School, we got Superintendent Leroy Qualls. If you guys got immersion questions, you guys can address those with Mr. Qualls as well.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I hope that you have the report that was turned in, and I usually say this first. A lot of things are outdated there. A lot of other things to report on also. What you have there, do you have any questions on anything that has been previously turned in? There's some good highlights there. Of course, we're on spring break too, We had 7 speech and drama qualifiers for the OSSAA Speech and Drama. That's fantastic, and you've got the names there in front of you. We also have 11 Gates finalists, which is almost 15%. Almost 15% of our senior
Gates
student
finalists.
body. And another interesting thing to go along with that is that we have 25 applicants for the Oklahoma Indian Honor Society, which is very steep criteria for that. You have to have a 3.9 for Oklahoma Indian Honor Society to be able to apply. Just to give you a little bit of reflection on that, National Honor Society, you have a 3.75 to qualify, but Oklahoma Indian Honor Society goes above and beyond. So we're proud of those 25 kids that have applied. Going back to a little bit of the discussion on the state funding, it's not related to Sequoia High School at all because we're pretty much all BIE funded, and we rely on that funding, a lot of it, but our state supplies some of the funding for immersion, and the tribe kicks in a part of it, and some things that may go away before next year. We had Joy Hoffmeister come down to our Tri-County Superintendent's meeting last month, and she reported that there's some things that they're looking at, but there's not going to be any changes made right now at this point, not during the school year. But some things that they're kicking around is getting rid of the F grading system. Another thing they're kicking around is getting rid of the EOI exams and integrating more of an ACT type test for students that would diagnose maybe what those kids need to be going into if it's not college. Those are just things that she shared with me at that meeting, and that yes, there may be some changes coming down next. I mean, she's really excited. She has a lot of energy, and I think she'll do a good job as state superintendent. Just some things to add to the report here. Our wrestling team did very well this year. Will Tiger qualified again. He finished 3rd last year. Nolan Philpott finished 3rd this year. That kid's a senior, and he's only been wrestling less than a year and a half, which is great. And he's also a heavyweight, if you can imagine. But he was just a few points away from getting to the state finals. Our power lifters did real well. Last weekend, we had a kid that repeated as state champion. He won a state championship last year in powerlifting, Justin Hooper, and he repeated again this year. So there's a lot of things, a lot of good things going on, and that's not to mention our basketball teams for the 3rd year in a row. Both teams have made the state tournament. You can look at all the records that you want to, but that doesn't happen very often. And our girls did bring home the gold basketball. That was phenomenal. We're extremely proud of both teams. The boys, the game we saw, lost but 1 point, could have went either way. The team that beat us got in the finals. So you got to have a little bit of luck, a lot of skill, and a lot of hard work to go with that. But I also congratulate those kids because they work hard all summer. There's no off season hardly anymore for basketball. We had 3 girls that made the all-tournament team, the state tournament all-tournament team in Class 3A. Sierra Polk made the 2nd team. Johnette Cookson was on the 1st team. Cena Hayes also made the 1st team and was a tournament most valuable player. That's quite an accomplishment. She had, I think it's 33 points in the finals. But she was a young lady on a mission, and she's a sophomore. There's a couple of times the second half when she took the ball on one end, went coast to coast, got a 3-point play on one, and made some tough shots and hit a couple of threes. She performed at a most valuable player level. We're planning, don't have any plans definite, but we're planning on having a celebration, state championship celebration next week for those kids. One thing that I'm really proud of is last year's senior class has donated the money to buy a gazebo and put it on our campus. I think it was around $1,200 to $1,300. So we have. That's wonderful. And one thing I'd like to say about both teams also is that off the floor, they're just as good of people as they are on the court as players. So we've got championship type players and people also. I know I went fast, but there's several things I wanted to get in. One thing that you mentioned a while ago about the immersion that we're trying to get started is something called a Reading Partners Program. That's been really successful in Tulsa. I think with that and the fact that we've started English after school now to maybe enrich our English skills a little bit more, there are some things that can help in the future for next year. I really don't want to go out on a limb about that third grade reading test, but I know that's being kicked around too right now. Speaking to Keith Ballard, who's superintendent of Tulsa schools, last summer they had triple digits that failed their EOIs. They put a bunch of money into summer school. All these kids went through the remediation program and only 6 passed it out of 400 and something, I believe. So they spent a bunch of money to bring teachers in to teach all summer. And he said, you know, the sad thing about the whole thing is I think if they did it again next summer, we wouldn't reach 10 passing that one. So it's just something out there. I don't know, we could blame it on culture or whatever, but testing's a hard thing to do. Think about it, because if all tests were easy for everyone, everybody walking around to be a college graduate, and sometimes things doesn't work out that way. Would like to add some things on our Cherokee County Livestock Show. We had 7 kids that made the premier sale. Had a young lady named J.C. Jackson that had reserve champion gold in that. The other kids involved were Joey Hardbarker, Alyssa Walls, J.C. Smith, Bryce Smith, Jacob Sevier, and Jamie Garrett. And J.C. Smith also went to the Muskogee Regional Livestock Show and had the grand champion lamb there. And we are visiting with people and trying to seek money to begin ag science program in the future, hopefully not too far down the road. So we do have kids that have that interest and they go on their own. We have a sponsor, 4-H sponsor, that helps them and takes them. Maybe someday we can involve a lot more kids. I did do a survey, school-wide survey, and there were 83 out of 370-something that said they would definitely take ag if we had it. Of course, there were some in the medium range there that didn't know for sure if they would or not. So we know we would probably get a percentage of those kids also. And we had some that weren't interested, so that's just something that we'd like to get going sometime in the future for our own students. That's all I have at this point.
Coach Qualls, I just want to tell you that, you know, most of the time when I get phone calls from parents, it's normally a complaint or an issue, but I've been getting a lot of phone calls here lately, and they just been bragging on the success of the school with the state championships. The J.C. Smith's dad's called me the other day about her winning there at Muskogee, showing her pig off. So I mean, there's some proud parents up at Sequoia, and you guys are doing a great job. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
We love our school climate. We try to make it good for our kids.
Okay, good. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Qualls?
I got a comment.
Chief Bird?
Probably start looking at some ring sizes.
We may have to find a shovel and start digging for money.
Yeah.
But that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, we already went out on the limb. If they'd won the first game, I said the cookout is on walking stick. That's what I promised the kids. I said if you win the second game, I'll take care of the cookout. and they won them both. So they hit us up after that second game. We beat Millwood by 1. Then Adair was supposed to win it all. We beat Adair by 12. Then come back to the finals. They come to us, those girls, and said, all right, now what?
So I'm trying to find me a shovel now.
Better come through. And won the finals by 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was as proud of the behavior of our student body and the fans. A couple of board members came down and sat down by me. Glover and Shackley came down and sat down by me. They said they were very well behaved. Students went in a couple of restaurants and they echoed the same thing. Best behaved bunch of kids. That's what goes a long way. It's one thing to win a championship. We win ball games all the time. But when their behavior and character reflects that, that's what makes parents proud. So that's what I was proud of.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I will share it at my managers meeting because it goes a long ways with our administrators that works daily with these young people.
We had fans from Anadarko and Stillwell that were in Locust Grove that were cheering our kids on. It reflects the Indian community we have, that we all
Well, and each one of the children that showed, performed in the livestock shows, if you all will remember, we give each one of them that win the local, their local district, or their local show, they receive $100. If they go to their district show and win again, make the sale, they receive $200. Now, those same children that you're talking about from Sequoia School are in Oklahoma City now.
Yeah.
And will show on Wednesday and I believe Thursday if they have goats, sheep, or pigs, or steers. They will show on Wednesday or Thursday where they have the opportunity with that same animal to receive $500 from us if they make the sale there. So you all have set up a very good system in counties where we reward the young people that are getting into areas of learning where our food comes from. That's what it comes back to, is they're your farmers of tomorrow. They're your folks that will make sure that we continue in this country to enjoy food. Because you can ask some people where food comes from, they'll tell you, well, Reesers. They don't know behind Reesers there's got to be a farm that grows things or brings cattle to the market or brings hogs to the market. They still think our milk. They think milk is made at Reesers. So these young people, I'm just as excited about them as we all are excited about the performance in basketball. You're doing good work at Sequoia School, and you need to be recognized for it. Very much the school of choice, very much the school of choice, and growing every year. And now that we go from immersion all the way through the 12th grade, things are only going to get better for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to echo what you said, and one pitch that I made to some of the people that came to survey our campus and what we have as far as what we could do with our ag science program. The thing that I, growing up on a farm for many years, see that we lack in today's society is a sense of responsibility with some of our youth. We have some that are very responsible, and we have some that need responsibility.
My husband and I have been involved with 4-H and FFA for at least, both of us showed, so that tells you we go all the way back to when we were 7, 8, 9 years old when we started. I still say I'll put our ag students up against anybody in society for how well-mannered they can be, for what they grow up and they do with their lives. It will instill in them values that will be with them their entire lives. But it's no difference than keeping them involved in basketball, football, baseball, softball, wrestling, any extracurricular activity that you can get a child involved in, just like the youth council here. These are things that they're going to take with them the rest of their life. That's the things that we need to be thinking about putting our money and continuing our money in is those extracurricular youth activities, because that's our future. And it starts with you guys.
Well said, Speaker. Well said. Councilman Buzzard.
And I'd just like to make a comment, just follow up on the Speaker's comments about agriculture. And a lot of us in this council are raised on farms, and
Those girls are thinking about.
I had a judge tell me one time, he'd never had a kid to come before him that he had to sentence that took 4-H FFA agriculture kid. The other thing I'd like to commend the Sequoia High School is about the agriculture program, because I just think it's been missing there for a long time. I know the athletic program has been good, and I'm proud of that, but also I'm proud of these kids that's going out and getting involved with agriculture. And so on that point, Mr. Pauls, I think we could start a gardening project along with the agriculture program. I think that instills forward. So keep that in mind when we get our ag teacher.
We're planning a
involved.
cultural garden
Good.
and possibly a butterfly farm
That's good to hear. Good.
with
Thank
our
you, Mr.
elementary.
Chair.
You bet.
Good report, Mr. Qualls.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next we got cultural tourism, Miss Molly Jarvis. Tribal Council, we'll see you guys in Mexico or Cancun or something. All right, happy spring break. Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is our quarterly report for the council, and happy to say that we did begin work on the masonry project at the Capitol building just this month. So that is it involves taking the building back to as close to its original state as it is today, that we can. Stripping the paint from the bricks, repairing the bricks, retuck and pointing the mortar, and then we hope that we will be able to just seal the building and leave the original brick exposed. So that project is ongoing. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. This being spring break week, as we mentioned, we have some activities at our museums this Thursday, and those include some make and take activities for children. So we're hoping to have great attendance in the museums that day. And then just coming up in a few weeks is our Cherokee Days at the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. Second annual now.
April
so
11th.
that is going on April 10th through 12th. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions for Ms. Jarvis? Councilman Buzzard?
I don't know if it's a question or not, Molly, but the last time I was over to Slane Courthouse, the road going down there really needs some work.
Okay, and when was that?
Well, I know it was down there for a wedding, but I don't know. It's been within the last 6 or 8 months.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what has happened, and I do have a note there, about, when was that we had to close the bridge? About a month ago? So it's been since I've been here last, since we just report quarterly. About a month ago, or 4 to 6 weeks ago, we are working on this master plan at Saline. So part of that master plan was to have an engineering assessment done on the bridge. That assessment deemed that the bridge was not safe for vehicle traffic. So the bridge is closed at this point, and only pedestrian traffic can cross that. And so we're working with Cherokee Nation Facilities and this engineer and the assessment, or the master planning group, to reroute and have an alternate entrance for the Saline Courthouse.
But the other road I'm talking about too is from the old 412 down.
Oh, okay. And I think you've mentioned that.
I know there's some council members that have some money that could probably help donate to that.
Okay, we probably need to talk to
I'm not mentioning
Michael
the
Lynn
name.
about that.
Yeah, because it's really rough. I mean, if you take tourists coming in and you drive over that road, I don't know if you want to go back down there. I mean, it's that rough.
Yeah, and I can visit with Michael Lynn about that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Buzzard. Any other questions for Mark? Yes, Dr. Coates.
Molly, do you all still have the the tours, the bus tours around here to various places and so forth?
Yes, they're, right. We, a long time ago in the beginning, we had them just a regular basis on a Saturday or whatever, someone could just hop on. We don't have that now. We do take groups of 10 or more out on a tour, so you do need to schedule it with us, but absolutely.
Right, that's what I was wondering, if there were still reservations.
Yep. And right now, we're heavy into the spring education tours, so many of the days are booked with education tours, but we book tour groups all the time, yes. One thing I did fail to mention, if anyone is interested in Cherokee Days at NMAI, I do have the schedule of events that will take place. If you, we've got copies if anyone would like that in case you're planning to go.
Okay, good. Good
I can leave
report,
those
Molly.
with Gail.
Anybody have more questions? Miss, saying none? Good
Okay.
report.
Thank you very much.
All right, down to old business, there's none pending. New business. Councilor Hargis, you'd like to take this?
This is a resolution authorizing Career Services to develop and submit a grant application to the U.S. Department of Education for funding and vocational rehabilitation program. This is a new grant, and it's for a 5-year period. There is also a 10% cash match required.
10%.
The grant will be approximately $600,000 per year.
Wow.
But this is in form of a motion and ask that it go to full council tonight.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, Councilman Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you mentioned the 10% cash match, and it's been approved. But do we need to put that in the budget for any modifications, or is it already in there?
This is 600,000 a year.
Well, the 10%.
Of 600,000, so it's 60,000. Is it 10% per year, or is it just a one time?
We have a cash match account where that would come out.
Okay. Councilor Keener, I think there's an account set up for that.
Thank you.
All right. Good question. All right, we have motion and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right. The career services passes. Announcements, there's none. Next meeting date is April the 13th. Here, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Aye. All right. Kurt, how much time?